Are you struggling to get in enough protein to meet your needs? Are you trying to build muscle and get stronger, but you just don't know what to eat to make it happen? In today's episode, I'm going to give you my top 6 tips to instantly boost your protein intake so you can get stronger, fitter, and build muscle. I'm not talking about just having a protein shake at every meal. I'm talking about real foods you can add to your day to instantly boost your protein intake. Grab a pen and paper to take some notes and let's get it. Tired of feeling exhausted after training? Confused about how to fuel your body without all the food rules? Welcome to Female Sports Nutrition, where I'll help you fuel strong, build muscle, and perform your best, all while breaking free from diet culture. I'm Kristen, a sports dietitian, trainer, and Jesus lover, and I'm here to help you fuel with freedom. Lace up your shoes, grab that smoothie, and let's jump in. Okay, can I just brag on myself for just a second here? This is my 60th episode, and I just checked my downloads for the past month, and I've reached 1,000 downloads for the month. Eek! I'm so excited. My podcast is also in the top 3% for global rank. I want to thank each and every one of you who have been listening to my podcast for your support, but I do need a quick favor from you. To keep this ball rolling, I would love it if you would please take just a minute to leave me a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. I truly love reading these reviews as it allows me to hear from my listeners, and it also helps me to grow the show so that I can help more female athletes just like you. So please just scroll to the bottom of the show on Apple Podcasts, click write a review, and that's it. It'll take you less than a minute. Thank you again. So today we're talking about 6 ways you can instantly boost your protein intake so that you can build and maintain muscle. But let's first dive into, why do we even need protein? I think we hear so much about protein these days, but why do we even actually need it? First of all, if you've ever been to a cadaver lab, which you probably haven't, but I have, and you'll realize that we're kind of like giant steaks walking around. It sounds very morbid, but all of our bodies are made up of a lot of protein, and our bodies are constantly being broken down, which means we're constantly in a catabolic state. So all of our muscles, bones, our skin, our hair, our nails, our organs, our blood, it's all made up of protein, and our bodies are constantly being broken down, like I said. So we need to put back into our bodies what our bodies are taking out each day. So we need to make sure that we're getting in enough protein. Also, our immune system is really going to be controlled by protein as well as other things. But proteins are going to contribute to the production of antibodies, which are really important for fighting off infections and illnesses. So I'm sure if you remember back to 2020 COVID days, we heard a lot about antibodies. Our bodies are going to produce antibodies when we get sick, and those are really important to help fight off infections. So a healthy immune system really depends on adequate protein intake. Now, protein is not going to be a huge energy source. It's really only going to be about 2% of our energy needs for the day. Carbohydrates and fats are really going to provide us with energy, but protein does give us a little bit of energy, and it is going to provide a little bit of a fuel source when you are working out for your muscles. So what I mean by this is by taking in a little bit of protein before your training, that's going to provide your muscles with a little bit of a fuel source so that it's not just completely breaking down your muscles. Also, protein is going to be responsible for some hormone production. So that's going to help to regulate various bodily functions, including our growth, our metabolism, and also reproduction. Proteins are also going to help make enzymes in our body, which it's kind of like the catalyst for reactions happening in our bodies. So this would be things like digestion and metabolism and other processes. Proteins are also going to help to maintain the pH balance of our blood, which is going to ensure that our bodies are optimally functioning. And this may not sound like much to you, but let me tell you, if our pH balance gets out of whack, it's really going to cause a whole slew of problems, including death. So we want to make sure that that is always in check. Proteins are also going to be important for nutrient transport. So they're going to help to store nutrients throughout the body and transport them so that we are ensuring that they are reaching the correct cells that need them. Lastly, protein is going to help with satiety as well as body composition. So protein is going to help us to feel full, and it's going to help to time release the energy from our other foods like carbohydrates and fats. And this is going to help to be beneficial for managing hunger and supporting if you're trying to lose some fat or maintain your body composition. it's also going to help to prevent a lot of blood sugar swings. So let's get into the 6 ways that you can instantly boost protein so that you can build and maintain your muscle. Number 1 is cottage cheese. If you've been on the internet, if you've been on Pinterest or anything like that, you've probably seen cottage cheese being added to things. And at first I thought, ew, gross. But then I tried it and I was like, this is pretty genius. So let me say this, 1 cup of 2% cottage cheese contains 24 grams of protein. That's a really good amount of protein in just 1 cup. And let me back up a second. For meals for female athletes, you really want to be aiming for somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 grams of protein. And at snacks, I would recommend more like 10, 15, upwards of 20 grams of protein. So 24 grams of protein in 1 cup of cottage cheese is great because that actually fulfills your protein needs for that entire meal. So some things that I have done with cottage cheese is added them to waffles and pancakes, which is delicious. I'm going to link my favorite cottage cheese pancake recipe below for you. Also, I make veggie dip out of cottage cheese. So this is just a really easy snack where you can dip some vegetable sticks into a cottage cheese dip. It's like a ranch dip. It turns out really, really good. Also, buffalo chicken dip. I've made this before. Super delicious. There's other dips that you can make like spinach artichoke dip. Also really good. If you just Google cottage cheese recipes, there will be a ton of recipes that come up, or go on to Pinterest. You'll find a ton of them. Number 2 is Greek yogurt. So very similar to cottage cheese, but slightly different. So Greek yogurt, for 1 cup of non-fat Greek yogurt, that contains 25 grams of protein. Also an awesome source of protein. So some things that I've done with Greek yogurt are making waffles or pancakes. So like I said, similar to the cottage cheese. I also have made veggie dip out of Greek yogurt as well. I've also made muffins with Greek yogurt. I make these applesauce muffins that have Greek yogurt in them that increase the protein content. And that is just a very easy way to increase the protein content out of a food that is normally very low in protein. So a muffin is really going to have maybe 0 to 3 grams of protein in it. But when you add the Greek yogurt to it, it's instantly going to bump up the protein content in that food. Also, making overnight oats, just adding a spoonful of Greek yogurt to your overnight oats with milk already in there is going to increase the protein content as well. And of course, there are other things that you could do to add protein to your overnight oats, like adding chia seeds. You can use an ultra filtered milk, which is going to contain more protein, like Fairlife milk, for example. You can also add some nuts or nut butters, and then you can also add a scoop of protein powder. That's going to help to increase the protein content even more. I'll also have a snack, just a bowl full of Greek yogurt with some fruit and a little bit of granola. That to me is a very satisfying snack. But again, I'm getting 25 grams of protein out of that 1 bowl of yogurt with fruit. I'll also make popsicles. So right now we're in strawberry season. So you can blend together strawberries with some Greek yogurt, a little bit of honey or maple syrup, and freeze them in some little silicone popsicle containers. And that makes a great snack. And once again, I will make dressings and dips out of Greek yogurt. So I will make my own ranch dressing, and I've made Caesar dressing and blue cheese dressing out of Greek yogurt, and it turns out really good. I don't even notice the difference, quite frankly, from a store-bought, except for that it tastes better. Number 3 is to replace low protein grains with high protein starches like beans, quinoa, or edamame. So for example, 1 cup of white rice is only going to contain 4 grams of protein. But if you were to replace that 1 cup of white rice with 1 cup of black beans, you now have 14 grams of protein. So you have 10 grams more of protein than if you were to have white rice. So this is a great thing that you could do for something like a burrito bowl, or if you want to make enchiladas or tacos. Instead of using rice, just use black beans. Of course, there are other recipes that you could use with edamame or quinoa or other types of beans, but you get the idea. So if you're going to make chili for dinner, put a bunch of beans in there, some ground beef, or if you want to use chicken instead, that's fine. And you don't need to worry about having any rice in with your chili because you just have a bunch of beans in there. You're going to be getting carbohydrates, but now you're going to be getting a lot more protein than if you were to use rice or pasta or something along those lines. So as many times as you can, try to think of ways where you can utilize these high protein starches like beans, quinoa, or edamame to increase your protein content. Number 4, now this isn't necessarily a whole food, but I'm going to stick it in here anyways because I think this is just such an easy way of getting in protein. If you are a coffee drinker or even a tea drinker, you can use protein powder as your creamer in your morning coffee or in your afternoon iced coffee. So I'll switch back and forth between collagen and whey. But I will say a note on collagen. Collagen is not going to be a complete protein. It's not going to be as good as whey protein. Collagen is really going to be good for helping with joint pain, but really only upwards of about 10 grams. So if you want to use collagen in your coffee, go right ahead. That's perfectly fine. But what I'm talking about here is using a scoop of whey protein, and you can actually get 20 to 25 grams of protein if you were to use a scoop of whey protein. So some whey proteins don't want you to put it in a hot liquid, so you're just going to have to look at the label. But what you can do is kind of make like a little bit of a slurry where you mix together your scoop of whey protein with a little bit of water, and then you'll dump that into your coffee in the morning. If it's an iced coffee, you could just go ahead and put it in there. If you are not into whey protein and you're going to use a plant-based protein, that's totally fine as well. Just know it may not mix as well. However, I will say for a period of time, I used Vega Sport protein powder or Vega Sport, however you want to pronounce it. I used the chocolate one and I actually just mixed that with water and stuck it in the microwave. And it was like this delicious hot chocolate in the morning. I actually put a little bit of salt on it too. So it was like this salted hot chocolate, and it was so delicious. And that was my drink while I was getting everybody else breakfast, but I was getting in a lot of protein. So you can use any one of those options to get in a good amount of protein in the morning. This is especially helpful if you're not a breakfast eater. Just go ahead and do the protein powder in your coffee or do the hot chocolate tip, and that can be your breakfast to at least get you started. Number 5 is to use high protein pastas like chickpea pasta, lentil, or edamame pastas instead of regular pasta. So regular enriched pasta for 2 ounces is going to give you 7 grams of protein, which is not terrible. That's actually really not too shabby. But if we were to look at the same amount for edamame pasta, it's going to contain 24 grams of protein, which is crazy. If you have the chickpea or lentil pasta, it's going to give you 11 to 12 grams of protein. So it's going to be a little bit more than your regular pasta. It's not going to be nearly as much as the edamame pasta. But I do think that those chickpea pastas like Banza, however you pronounce it, is going to be way more available than edamame. I don't see the edamame pasta quite as much, but I do find it at Aldi from time to time. So if you see those, go ahead and get those because that's instantly going to increase your protein content for that meal. So you can, of course, make dinner dishes and, we're going to, of course, batch cook everything. So you have that for lunch the next day. But things that I've done with it is making baked ziti with ground beef, or I've done just like a pasta dish with some chicken over top of it. Any type of pasta dish will work here. I've also done for lunches, if I want something cold for lunch, I'll do a pasta salad with maybe some grilled chicken added, and I'll use either the chickpea pasta or the edamame pasta. And that is a great option because it's instantly increasing your protein content. It's also giving you more fiber as well. And then you can add whatever vegetables that you have. And then to further increase your protein content, I will actually use Greek yogurt or the cottage cheese, blend it up into like a dressing or a dip, if you want to say that, and pour that over top of my pasta to make the pasta salad. So now you're getting like a triple whammy of protein between the pasta, the Greek yogurt or cottage cheese, whichever one you decide to use, and then the chicken or whatever meat that you put into your pasta salad. Great ways to increase your protein right there. Number 6, this is not necessarily a specific food, but I will give you some examples, is just to keep a protein source with you at all times. I see people sometimes where they're like, I got to the end of the night and I realized that I didn't get enough protein for the day, so I went ahead and ate like a 10-ounce steak. Let me tell you, your body is not utilizing that 10-ounce steak all at one time. Your body can't use that much protein at one time. You really need to space it out over the course of the day. So this is why it's really important to make sure that you are thinking ahead about how you can get in your protein and really prioritizing your protein. And the way that you are going to do that, because we live such busy lives, is to just keep a protein source with you at all times so that you don't really need to think ahead. So some things that I use are Epic bars, which I love. I get so sick of sweet proteins, like protein bars and protein powders after a while. So I love Epic bars. There are lots of different flavors. You can even get fish ones if you want to, which sounds gross, but they're really good. They have like chicken sriracha, they have bison, there's venison, there's beef, there's pork, there's all different types of Epic bars. They're basically just like beef jerky bars. I'll also use beef jerky. I even made my own, which I'm going to link below a recipe for beef jerky that you can make at home. And of course, there's always going to be protein bars and protein powders. So what I'll do is I'll keep a little container, like a little, salad dressing container, if you want to call it that, full of protein powder. And then I will keep either a mason jar or a shaker bottle or something like that with me. So then all I need to do is find a water fountain, dump the protein powder in there, shake it up, and I drink it. I'll also do protein bars. So some good options are going to be Cliff Builder bars, which nutritionally speaking, those are the most balanced protein bars on the market that I have found that actually have real food in them and not a bunch of fake stuff. The Kirkland signature protein bars are also good. RX bars are also good. They're not going to be quite as much protein, but they're still a good option, especially if you are looking for a whole food option. And Transparent Labs grass-fed protein bars. I have not personally tried these, but nutritionally speaking, these are very well balanced. So let's just kind of run back through these tips quickly and recap here. So number 1 is to cook with cottage cheese. Number 2 is to bake with Greek yogurt. Number 3 is to replace the grains in your diet with high protein starches like beans, quinoa, or edamame. Number 4 is to use a protein powder as your creamer in your morning coffee or your afternoon iced coffee. Or of course, you could just do the chocolate protein powder with water and microwave it and make it like a nice hot chocolate in the morning. Number 5 is to use a high protein pasta instead of your regular enriched pasta. And number 6 is to keep a protein source with you at all times. If you enjoyed this episode, you found it helpful, would you please, like I said, write me a quick review on Apple Podcasts? It really helps me to grow the show and to deliver more science-based information to female athletes that are based on factual information and not just opinions. It takes just a minute of your time. Just scroll to the bottom of Apple Podcasts, hit the 5 stars, and write me a quick review. Hey friend, if this podcast inspired you, encouraged you, or changed you, I would love for you to leave me a review and share it with a girlfriend who will find it helpful or inspiring. That is the best way you can thank me and help me share my knowledge so I can help more people just like you. I'm so thankful that you spent this time with me today, and I'd love to connect with you. Join my Facebook group, Female Sports Nutrition, or send me a DM on Instagram, or hop on over to my website, EliteNutritionPerformance.com. I'll see you back here next week.